come down. See their lies. Read their point, see their lies. So we love we deal and we tell them again.
See the right, see the lies. Unelected, rejected, no matter anyway. See the smile, read the file. By hook or crook, they'll always get their way.
As long as feel at the bottom of the learning curve. Maybe we got the leaders that we deserve. Biting a burger, make our brains get smaller. West I said the larger, we wanna make it harder.
Gotta be as hungry as they are.
As hungry as they
Gotta
are.
be as hungry as they are. You gotta be as hungry as they are.
Get hungry, get angry, get hungry, and take back the power. I'll put your fists in the air.
Yeah, I'm a writer. I independently work as a curator. I'm a photographer. I do film. One adjective that I really prefer is a cyclist.
I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride my bike. I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride it where I like.
I am Nishchal Oli. I'm the project coordinator for Siddhartha Arts Foundation's education initiative, which was started in partnership with CKU back in 2014 to train art managers, curators, and writers. So basically the middlemen of the art industry were trying to change the entire conversation about how projects were being created, managed, written about, and also curated.
I want to ride my bicycle.
An artist, to a large extent in Nepal, creates socially aware art that is focused on issues people regularly face or face in association with international markets and economies. The art scene in Nepal is very political. There are a lot of fragmentations. There's a lot of bad blood between different institutions. It's almost, again, the focus is, there's a focus on limitation, but the limitation does not exist within the opportunities for Nepali art. This is our library, small library that we've put together on management, curating and writing. We have about 100 plus titles right now. This is the office of the Siddhartha Arts Foundation, the Siddhartha Art Gallery and the Kathmandu Contemporary Arts Center. We have a massive archive of stories, media things, all the way stretching back to a couple of decades. These are the staff, they're working on. This is the Kathmandu Triennale staff and the Education Initiative staff. And we basically do everything from this base. So with the 6 grantees that CKU funded between 2014 and 16, I think the conversation really changed. A lot of new players were brought in, people who really worked hands-on with communities. They were brought on to do projects. And it's sad that it's closing because I think CKU was one of the few institutions really dedicated to this idea of cultural aid, of developing arts as a tool to promote prosperity, growth and development. That's very unique. CKU definitely was a stepping stone, but I think they've also helped us conceive of a ladder that will take us further up and create new ways of engaging other patrons in this idea of using art and culture as a tool for development, for equality, whatever any social good basically.
Namaste, my name is Santosh Shah. I'm the Managing Director of South Asia Communications. I was born in a village in the southern part of Nepal, in a farming family. So I grew up in farm with cattle, and I went to a school where we had to sit on a floor and study. But later on my parents sent me to a private school in a small town nearby our village called Janakpur. And from there I got picked up by the national school, which is Burhanington School, and that's what brought me to Kathmandu.
Now, the phone
funk soul brother. Check it out now. The funk soul brother. Right about now.
I started writing when I was 13 years old. I started writing for Kantipur Daily, and they were starting the Kathmandu Post, which is now one of the leading English daily. So I was very young, 13, 14 years old, but I could also get involved when it started, and so I could meet the editors, the publishers. So I had that kind of experience as a young kid about how do you set up a media house. Back then, young people were not considered as opinionators. Like it was believed that young people don't take interest in politics or foreign affairs. So my concept was to change that. I started my own magazine called Today's Youth, which was the first serious youth media in Nepal. In 2008, when there was a power cut, that's when the power cut started. We went from magazine to television, and so I launched a TV show called Power Talks, because we also had to keep in mind which viewer has electricity. All the government and diplomatic missions had electricity, so we thought of a TV show where we feature them so they watch themselves. And then that's how the Power Talks came into picture. And then in youth TV show, the idea was not fixed. The idea was each TV show could be different every week. And that's where our partners, Stephen Freiheit and Thomas Kurek, came into picture. I met them through the Danish embassy, and they liked the idea, so they worked on a couple of TV shows with us. And that's how together the concept of pattern breakers came into picture.
Funk soul brother. Check it out now. The funk soul brother. Right about now.
Now that we have completed our program with CKU funding, we're still hoping to continue Pattern Breakers, because it's just an amazing idea where we find all these local heroes in villages in the Tarai or hills or mountains and bring them to the national attention. So with the help of CKU and a bit of our own expenses, we are building a private television studio, and we don't use it every day. We only need to use it once in a day, once in a week, one day in a week. So we hope we can rent the studio to other producers, and they could be young or professionals, and they could pay us, which can keep our program running. So we hope that we can be able to sustain it, and CKU has played an important role in funding major expenses of the studio.
When we looked around the city walls, and there was only political graffiti. There was so much negative energy around, and so we decided to paint the walls. My name is Romel, and when I was 6 years old, I did my schooling in India. And when I was in school, I really loved art. I used to always win the art prize.
मेरो नाम चाहिँ सञ्जय रङ्गुल हैन, मेरो स्ट्रिट नेम चाहिँ कस्मिक, अनि म चाहिँ आर्ट ल्याबमा जोइन भएको 2 years जति भयो होला है.
My name is Kiran Mahajan. I'm a street artist and work with Artlab. My tag name is H11235. That's the pseudonym I use while working on the streets.
Our studio is really, every time it's untidy because we really work all the time. In 2013, we started this project in 2013, and I think people really appreciated the project. In 2014, we were really lucky to be funded by CKU.
अनि प्रसाद प्रोजेक्टको बारेमा भनेको थियो, अनि मलाई नि त्यो प्रोजेक्ट चाहिँ अति रमाइलो लाग्यो, इन्ट्रेस्टिङ लाग्यो आइडियाहरू.
After we were funded and after we got to kick off the project, then we traveled in around 6 cities around Nepal, teaching the youth how to do street art and making murals with them. We were really lucky to be really funded, but that's not only about funding, but CKU is such a body that makes you grow, makes not only makes you grow, but makes everyone's capacity development.
So with the end of the grant provided by CKU and the ending of the temporary ending of the project itself, I think it is going to take us in a different direction, considering how much we have been doing and how much actively we have been creating street art and involved in the creative process itself.
हामीले अब काठमाडौँसम्म गर्ने चाहिँ प्लान गरेको थियो अनि यसरी हामी यतासम्म चाहिँ आइपुग्यौँ हैन तर आई थिंक यो प्रोजेक्ट चाहिँ नि स्टप नभएको राम्रो हुन्छ जस्तो लाग्छ
In the future, longer run, me myself definitely would like to see the project grow and develop even more further. We wish to sort of reach more cities, places we haven't reached before, and get in contact with a lot of different artists and talk about the project in places where I think it's still more necessary to talk about and where it is even more needed right now. Yeah.
म चाहिँ भूषण मेरो नाम चाहिँ I and Onta got involved in this 10 years ago now in January, and the reason behind it was there wasn't a platform for Nepali photographers to come and show their work and get feedback and stuff like that, and then so we started this as a monthly event. And त्यसपछि then we thought like the quality raise गर्ने हो भने चाहिँ we need to bring in tutors from outside. त्यसरी learning initiatives workshops गर्न थाल्यो. Since we self publish the books, it's all DIY. Last year भन्दा त्योभन्दा अगाडि पनि चाहिँ we have this thing called Nepal Picture Library. It's a digital library. We don't keep albums hard copy राख्दैनौँ. हामीले यहाँ photography basic courseहरू गर्दाखेरि what we realized is the reference that we give to the students are all विदेशी फोटोग्राफरहरूको रेफरेन्स के जहिले पनि. अनि then we realized हैन नेपाली कामहरू पनि डिजिटाइज गर्नुपर्छ अनि खोज्दै जाँदाखेरि कसैको पनि डिजिटाइज गरेको छैन. We have two projects that's going simultaneously. That one is इतिहास घर घरबाट सुरु हुन्छ, हिस्ट्री बिगिन्स एट होम भनेर. अनि सो त्यो चाहिँ the idea is asking various contributors to contribute their family album. And so what we do is we bring in all the album and then we digitize. अनि त्योबाट चाहिँ अनि contextualize गर्नलाई चाहिँ we have various writers, various researchers, anthropologists working on these collections and then coming up with something. We have always realized that we should never rely on grants all the time. That has always been our thing for the last 10 years. How we function otherwise is I'm a designer, rest of my colleagues are all photographers, we take in assignments and we make money out of it. That money will go to whatever we do. We may not be able to buy super expensive machines and all that, but to keep on doing what we do, we use that money. So whether or not there is a grant or not a grant, whatever we do keeps on happening.
Hi, my name is Yukta Vajachaya and I am involved with Word Warriors, which is a spoken word poetry collective based in Kathmandu.
Word Warriors is basically a Kathmandu-based spoken word and workshop.
2 years ago, we received a grant from CKU to do a project called Right to Speak, to execute a project called Right to Speak. And the project has allowed us to reach out to a lot of young people outside of Kathmandu.
So this is the space we work in, lots of books as you see. So this is QC, our headquarters. Basically this is the history of Word Warriors is closely tied with QC because we came out of QC Awards 2010. past 6 years, how Word Warriors has developed has been an organic process with people coming in. Like I said, it's been an open group with youngsters who loved this art form, who have something to talk about, who have something to put out there. They've joined this group organically. They've learned together. We've learned together, and with CKU coming in 2.5 years ago and allowing us to do the Right to Speak project. Now, at this point, we've gone from Word Warriors based in Kathmandu to Word Warriors chapters in different areas. So we have Word Warriors chapters in Pokhara, in Chitwan, in Kabre, and we've already seen them doing different programs, individual programs, independently organized by them. We're very thankful to CKU for having given us this opportunity to work full-time, because in the past 2 years, the amount of time we've spent with this art form, taking this art form to other people, taking this art form to schools and classes and youngsters in different organizations, it has allowed the spoken word movement in Nepal to grow. It doesn't feel like this is an ending or this is a project-based movement anymore. It was a genuine movement when it started, and the past 2.5 years have strengthened us even more.
My name is Sakar. I'm one of the founders of Karkhana. The two things I do, I work and I work out, right? I used to be a computer programmer, so I studied computer science and I was a computer programmer for like 10 or 12 years. 5.5 years ago, I think, I decided I'd had enough of that. And so I moved back to Nepal and I was looking for things to do. And so I was always interested in this sort of like other side of self-expression, but it's not something you get a lot of in schools in South Asia. No? When we talk internally, it sounds a little audacious and it sounds like maybe we're biting off more than we can chew, but we really are interested in seeing a sort of transformation in the education system. That's what we're really interested in. And so we become a place where they can come see the changes that happen in children when they play, and how far, well-trained, caring teachers can take learning when the learning is being driven by the kids themselves, right?
Good morning, I'm Satyat Mananda and I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Karkhana, and I'm going to take you to a short tour of our workspace. Right here is our co-working space, and we use this. As you can see, there's a lot of people already working on it. There's people who've been discussing on events, and there's people who are planning classes for our students, and people here working here. And there's tools available for the kids. There's hammers, there's screwdrivers, there's saws which the students get access to, but with a bit of supervision. Students store whatever they made and store it here. As you can see, there's some antennas where the students are currently working on. Those are the models that we store at this space. At the classroom where the students come every Saturday and they learn things, they make things, they break things, and they innovate things.
Which would not have been possible without help from CKU. But in the same time, this help, actually, the support enabled us to work with the audience, to work with the customers, or work with the people who would not be able to afford our services in normal circumstances. The partnership has been amazing for us as an organization, And I think it has definitely created an environment where we were able to create a foundation for an amazing organization. Trust us, this is not ending, this is just beginning. This 2.5 years, this is beginning of a whole new change that we're going to bring in this education. You guys going, right? I need to work.
Go! Get out, guys!